Hey guys, let's talk Crash Bandicoot. So I was wondering whether I should do this kind of like off-the-cuff, off-scripted kind of discussion thing, or whether I wanted to make it super edited, super professional like most of my other videos. And I decided that it would be better to do one of these discussion things, because this way I want it to feel more personal, like I want it to actually feel like I'm talking to you guys, I want you guys to talk back to me, and also because this way I can get it out earlier. But let's get into it. Let's talk about Crash Bandicoot in Smash Ultimate. Now, I'm not just going to tell you whatever you want to hear. I'm not just going to say, oh yeah, Crash is a shoo-in, he's getting in for sure, leave a like and subscribe. I'm not going to do that, although you should still leave a like and subscribe. But I am going to give him an honest shot. So what I want to do is I want to put ourselves in the shoes of Sakurai and Nintendo and see what the process would be like to get Crash into Smash Ultimate. So it's Sakurai and Nintendo, they're in a board meeting, and they're going over the list for who they could possibly add to Smash Ultimate, and then the name Crash Bandicoot comes up. Now, when Crash Bandicoot comes up, they're ultimately trying to decide two things. One, how much are people going to like this character? And two, how easy is it going to be for us to get this character? Now, getting a character involves a whole lot of things. It involves not just trying to get in contact with the company, not just trying to get through some cultural barriers if they decide to go for someone in the West, but there's also contracts and IPs and all this legal stuff that takes a whole lot of work. So let's start with the first point first. How much do people want Crash Bandicoot all around the world? That's the important thing. How much do people want him all over the world? Now, of course, in the West, he is like at the top of everybody's wish list. Like everybody and their dog is waiting for Crash Bandicoot to come into Smash Ultimate. Now, since he is a Western rep, I decided to ask a whole bunch of Japanese people what they thought. Like, I asked as many Japanese people who played Smash Ultimate as I could find and get their input into it. And I was legitimately surprised how many of them are just as hype as we are for Crash Bandicoot. Like, right before the Game Awards, when Sephiroth was announced, I was going around to a whole bunch of Japanese people saying, who do you think? And they're all saying, Sora or Crash, Sora or Crash. And it was the exact same thing we were saying over here in the West. They wanted Sora and Crash, we want Sora and Crash. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Sora's going to happen. But Crash Bandicoot does have that popularity worldwide, so they definitely check that box there. Now for the second point of discussion, how easy is it going to be for them to get Crash Bandicoot? Now, Crash Bandicoot is a Western company, which is already going to be an initial hurdle. I know what people are going to be saying already is, what about Banjo? What about Steve? They're Western companies. It should be no problem. Well, those two had their own circumstances for joining Smash Ultimate. Banjo was literally just a present to Western people so that they could add Hero in without people being upset. Steve, even though he's a Western rep, he is the most popular video game character in the world, or at least he's the main character from the most popular game in the entire world. Like, people don't realize that Jonesy from Fortnite also has a chance to get into Smash Ultimate. Like, Fortnite in Japan is huge, like, possibly even bigger than Pokemon at this point. And so, we can't just say that any Western company is going to be so easy, it's going to be, there's going to be no problems. Now, the next point that I want to bring up is the idea that there are no connections that I know of, like literally zero connections between Nintendo and Crash Bandicoot's parent company, Activision Blizzard. Now, they have been able to get over those hurdles, like, they were able to do that with Terry. SNK has no representation anywhere else in Smash Ultimate, so they were able to do that, but SNK is a Japanese company. They were able to get Microsoft involved, but there were already connections there. Like, I went through it in one of my other videos. They start with Donkey Kong, then Diddy Kong, King K. Rool, then Banjo, then Steve, and they had a whole bunch of connections that led to that point. Crash Bandicoot, I'm not going to lie, is a huge hurdle just because he's from a Western company with no connections. But at the same time, we know that Nintendo can work magic. From what I've heard is that Nintendo has never asked for a character and been turned down before, and I sincerely doubt that Crash would be any exception. So I think that if any Western character, like if any character made from a company outside of Japan, from any video game ever in history, were to make it into Smash Ultimate, I think that it's Crash Bandicoot without a doubt. I think Crash Bandicoot has the most people who want him. I think that hopefully he wouldn't be too difficult to get once they get over those initial barriers. There is the possibility that Nintendo will say, you know, it's just too much of a hassle when we have other characters that we could get that the fans would like just as much. There's the important thing, is that people will still be really happy with whoever they choose, even if they don't choose Crash Bandicoot. But I still think that as iconic as Crash Bandicoot is, Smash is a celebration of video games, and Crash is definitely up there with the most popular video game characters of all time. Definitely deserves a spot over Pac-Man, if I'm being honest. I'm sorry, Pac-Man mains. I'm sorry to you guys, but I think the Crash deserves it more than you guys. And so ultimately, it comes down to this. If they can make a deal, I think that Crash is a no-brainer. I've gone over every single video game character from every single video game. There is literally nobody that Sakurai could surprise me with at this point. Like, I'm being totally serious here. There is nobody who they could choose who would make me surprised. Here are the ones that I could possibly see coming in front of Crash Bandicoot. I could possibly see Yuri from the Tales of series. I could see a Soul Calibur character. I could see a Pokemon rep. I could see Rex from Xenoblade Saga. But other than that, I just don't realistically see Crash not getting into Smash Ultimate. Like, it would be weird for him to not get in at this point. I've looked at what the Japanese people want. They say that Crash Bandicoot is right up there with Dante and Reimu from Toho. You know, you'd be surprised how many of them want Kirito from Sword Art Online, but don't worry, I don't think we have to worry about Kirito. I still have doubts about Jonesy getting in, but at the same time, we'll see about that. And so, I really do think that Crash has a pretty dang good shot, better than most characters, at getting into Smash Ultimate. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that he's a shoo-in, or do you think that he's a long shot for us? Leave a comment to let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.